Trying.
Hey, sorry. I
That's
accidentally
okay.
told my mom she can't watch it. Like,
soon as
you
soon
have
as
to,
mom came on, it started freaking out.
it just crashed. Yeah. I'm like, what's going on? I feel like this is, and now I'm like, okay, I'm going to hold my phone in exactly this right position. I got
Don't
full
move it.
bars.
Stick your tongue out the right way so that everything
Yeah. Oh, she
happens.
loves that. My mom loves all those goofy faces. Not. Like, oh, I should have known this was how this was going to go when my berry cup broke yesterday.
Oh no!
Yes.
It's a bad day.
What? Anyways. Okay,
Tell
I'm
your
going to
mom
be
she can
gone.
watch. She can watch it after.
I did. I
Tell
said,
her
well, you have to
there's
tune in.
nothing weird happening here. So just like
Yeah.
we're
She's like,
not
well, how can
barring
I
you from
watch
this.
you? Like, you'll be able to hear me. Like, I'm in the room right next door.
That's right.
My dad's awake now.
Oh, that's how it works in my house. If Bob's awake, everybody's awake, right?
Everybody's awake. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so I don't know if you remember this, but when I was evacuated in 2016 from the Fort McMurray fires,
Yeah.
we got a free gym membership, Okotoks Good Life.
Oh, yeah.
And I would go there and I would see this guy working out and be like, whatever. And then I started going on Instagram, and then I seen you on Instagram. And I'm like, I think that's the guy I see at the gym. And then I asked you, and it was like, yep, that's me. And I was like, oh my God, like, what a crazy world. And now I'm literally, virtually in your gym.
I canceled my membership at Good Life.
Yeah.
When the pandemic hit, and said I'm going to do it at home now.
Yeah. So that would be the closest gym to where you are, the one in Okotoks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Who do you know in Okotoks?
Pardon?
Where were you staying in Okotoks? Who do you know in
My mom
Okotoks?
and dad used to live in Okotoks.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they had a place there until 2017. They sold it and bought this property out here in the Shuswap.
Okay. So we were practically neighbors and didn't even know it.
I know. How crazy, right?
That's crazy.
So I was still living in Fort Mac, obviously, but then with the wildfire, we evacuated and came and stayed with my mom and dad for the 6 or 7 weeks and just hung out.
The madness of it all.
The madness
just hung out.
of
So right in the town of Okotoks?
Right in the town, like Cimarron Estates.
Oh, there we go, yeah.
Yeah, so basically they were there.
Right across from the school.
Right, yeah.
That's where all my kids went to school.
Oh, really?
Was at the Falcon, whatever.
Oh,
Foothills.
that's so cool.
Yeah.
I don't know how long they lived there. Maybe 9 or 10 years they were there.
Okay.
2007. Yeah.
It's strange that it's the internet that makes it another connection, right?
Yeah, like.
Which I guess is good.
It is. It's just a crazy kind of world. I don't know.
Yep.
Anyways, I love the internet.
So do I.
I really loved it in the last 2 years because, it's been a crazy 2 years for everybody. And it's really where I've gotten most of my, friend time and connection time because, I'm living out here with my mom and dad in the middle of nowhere.
In the middle of nowhere. It's gorgeous out there, though. What part of the lake are you on?
We're on North.
Like you're in Shuswap, right?
Yeah, so we're on North Shuswap. So
okay.
If you're driving from Salmon Arm, it's like right off Squillax Engelmont. I don't know if you've ever been out this way.
Yeah, we've holidayed out there a few times. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
On the lake itself.
Oh, nice. Like on houseboating?
Yeah, we did some houseboating. Yeah.
Oh, fun. Yeah, it's always fun.
It was awesome.
Yeah, we're on the arm that connects to Little Shuswap that goes all along to Kamloops.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, there's Talking Rock Golf Course, Scotch Creek. That's where the house is.
It's gorgeous back in there.
Yeah.
Just gorgeous.
Yeah, and then lots of times houseboats, they can't camp on this arm. It's all private.
Yeah.
Owned. There's no beaches for the houseboating. But
Yeah.
sometimes houseboats will come out down this way and go to that Copper Island. This is the island you can see from my pictures.
Yep.
And it's like a popular place where people boat and hang out for the day and
Yeah, it's a good day.
blast their tunes and create waves so that my mom and I can barely sit down on the dock and enjoy our afternoon because it's just wavy.
It sounds like you're complaining about those crazy teenagers out
I know, right?
on the water. Right?
You know, you've been
What are those crazy teenagers
with your parents long when you're turning into them.
Where's your mother? Does she know what you're doing right now?
Yeah. All the kids these days.
Right? Yeah, we went out there. We spent the longest time we spent 7 days out there. It was awesome.
Okay.
I did all that stuff. Just was with all the kids. They loved it. They'd get up and first thing in the morning is jump into the
lake.
Jump into the lake, and we'd decide where we were going to go spend the day. It was awesome.
Yeah. I went on houseboating adventures before, like, they had a place down here, and it was always a fun time. Like, way too much fun sometimes.
Yeah, no, that's. This is raw and real, but I'm not sure it's that raw and real.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got to keep Alan under control here. He'll go crazy.
Oh,
if all these.
I haven't read the.
It's super hard to do, right? Have a conversation and read the comments as they go by.
And like try to keep them like in the conversation.
Yeah.
I try and like if I'm speaking with someone, I'd rather like give you my full attention.
I agree.
Than the comments, and then it's unfortunate though the comments don't save.
I know they don't. When you repost it, it doesn't.
So you can't like read back. So you've watched like a few lives, and then you go and like I've watched it again after, and then you're talking about like a funny comment, but no one has a reference.
No one has any idea.
Talking about it's like, oh, it's just the ultimate inside joke for an hour. Yeah. Like no one knows what's going on.
Which is why I don't watch them. If you have a question, ask a question. And what's the rapping plumber? I won't be shaving my beard anytime soon. Sorry, dude. No. Did
you trim it though? It looks like it's trimmed.
I did. It's weird. Like it doesn't grow any longer. It just grows this way.
Okay.
Like I've literally, other than a little bit of trimming, it's grown this long and stopped.
Yeah.
And then it just decides to go like this.
Out, back up and wrap around.
Yeah. So after I get like the 8th Santa Claus comment, I figured it's time to go get it trimmed.
It's time to get it trimmed, yeah.
Yeah.
I like to keep mine like close.
You're doing a good job. Yeah. You've obviously recently got it trimmed. Nice job.
Yeah. Put the aftershave on.
Yeah. Slap it on there. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about you, Lesley. Who are you?
Well, I'm Lesley, the PIPEWENCH. What about me that people don't know, I guess, or already know, or some people probably don't know who I am right now.
That's right.
Don't you know who I am?
Don't you know? That's the famous line. You don't know who I am?
You don't know who
no.
I am. Yeah, I grew up in BC, Vancouver Island, in Nanaimo. Okay. And then I went traveling the world for 6 months. Came back.
Where'd you go?
Where'd I go?
Yeah. Any place fun?
I went to Indonesia and Australia, Thailand.
Oh, wow.
That tour, cool. Yeah, it was fun. My friend and I went. And when I came back, the job opportunities were the same as when I left. And it was, I was working menswear at the Bay. And I had a cleaning job, cleaning houses. And it was minimal wage and a lot of hard work. And my dad had been in Fort Mac for a few years already. So he was in my ear. You should come up here when you're back. You could make some good money and get a job. And so I booked a flight and moved to Fort McMurray like within a couple weeks of getting back from my trip.
Yep.
And was just going to move there to save money to be able to go to Europe in the summer. And I made enough money in a month for the whole trip and then some. And I bought my very first iPod. Like, you know, iPods first came out. I bought that first edition, like, with one of my, like, second paychecks. And it was like wow. Like, I was so excited and proud of myself. And so I decided to stay. So I went to Europe because my sister was there. She did a Rotary exchange in the Czech Republic.
Okay.
So at the end of her year, we went as a family and got to tour the Czech Republic with her and meet all her host families and see where she lived and went to school. And that was an amazing trip. And then when I stayed.
Visit some castles?
Seen some castles. We've seen a lot of castles.
I bet. Yeah.
We had a lot of, I can't remember the name of the food, but it was a lot of gravy and dumplings meals. And lots of cheeses and fresh breads. It was awesome. And then I stayed longer and flew up to England to meet up with some friends I had met traveling. And it was actually the day that London was bombed.
Oh.
So all my flights were delayed and stuff. So I landed like 6 or 7 hours after the bombings there. So it was a little bit of a different experience trying to get around. But yeah, and then I just moved back to Fort Mac and stayed there for 15 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what were you doing in Fort Mac?
I started off, I got a job cleaning with a cleaner, and then actually started working with my dad because he had was business partners in a developed company, building condos and townhouses and houses and stuff. So I started laboring with him, and then the plumber.
That's a tiny town up there. Fort Mac. Yeah.
It's small. It's grown a lot.
It has grown a lot. I was up there a couple of years ago doing some work in a townhouse. Yeah. And I was shocked, like it's the big oil, whatever, right?
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Well, I'm like, okay, now I'm bringing my reference now to a tiny town is where I'm living. There's no stoplights.
I guess.
There's one grocery store with the post office and the liquor store all in one.
I see that Rob's on here, so Pemberton, it's about the same. It's not as small as Robstown.
No. The Fort McMurray?
Fort McMurray.
Yeah, no. I think they have around, I think their census, it went down after the fire.
Yeah.
But I think it's growing again. Like, I think they have around 80 or 90,000 people.
Yeah.
Anyway,
is it that high? Anyway. So you were cleaning and working. Yeah, I would say it's probably closer to 50 or 60 now.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. I haven't kept track on those digits since I've left.
No. So you were there for 15 years.
Yeah,
I didn't know
15
that.
years.
Yeah.
The plumber actually, he offered me a job when I was working for my dad because they were kind of going in between work where they didn't have another condo, like a big job to keep all the workers going. So the plumber offered me a job, and so I went working with them. And within like 3 weeks of being on site, the apprenticeship board came around. They were doing their loops, and they asked me if I was a signed up apprentice, and I said no. And he gave me his card, and then I basically just told my boss, like, you're going to apprentice me, and so here's the paper you need to sign. And and then I signed up for school like a few weeks later because it was just right in line when you register. So I went on with Nate and signed up for the following January. So I had a few months before I was actually going, to really test it out. And I just kind of never looked back and I went January every year until I got my journeyman in 2011.
Nice.
Yeah. And then I worked for the same guy throughout my whole apprenticeship because he did like huge developments like condos and townhouses and stuff like that. So it was primarily all new construction, but it was such a small crew. There was just myself, him, and one or two other guys the whole time. So I got a lot of experience in all the different avenues of plumbing. So it was really great. And then I had a lot of free reign to really learn on my own and at a high pace with pressure to get stuff done for schedules. I remember being so stressed out a lot doing those jobs because of the amount of workload we had with just a small crew and feeling like, is this normal all the time? But he just kept it really, really small because you had better quality control.
Yep.
And you just had to hustle and work, and it was great. Like, I loved when I went back to school and a lot of guys were stuck. They were doing the same thing, like in Edmonton. I had to go to Edmonton to go to school.
That's where Nate is. Yeah.
So it was a nice two-month break to get out of Fort Mac, go to Edmonton, relax, do school. But it was interesting when I was talking to the other guys in my classes, and they would be doing the same thing all year, just pulling water lines, or just doing drainage, or because you get put into one of the larger companies and you just basically get thrown on a task and you don't get any other experience.
Yep.
And it's like
a huge problem.
A huge problem. Like, I get it. Companies want to streamline their workers, like an assembly line production, but it's unfortunate for when you're learning to just be stuck on one.
Yeah, we see it all the time up here where somebody will want to go in front of new construction to service.
Yeah.
And they're like, what have you done? Well, I can drill a hanger. I had a guy that knew the fitting measurements, like for copper and ABS, like in his head.
Yeah.
Like and I'm like, dude, why do you have that information? You don't know that? I'm like, no, man. I use a tape measure. What do I have to remember that for?
Yeah. There's too much other stuff in here.
Right?
Yeah.
And my boys actually, it was funny that you said that it was stressful because Pete came home from work the other day. He's like, Dad, it was the most stressful day of my entire life.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, because I wouldn't answer your call, and it was a job that you could handle, and you just had to figure it out for yourself.
Yeah.
And
my first task, I remember my first task, and it was putting shower valve, like we were in the stage of the building when I came in where we were going to be testing tubs. They had done the drainage and stuff, and they put in the rough-in shower trims, but they needed the trims put on with the valve cartridge and all of that.
Yeah.
And I remember my boss, because he didn't give me that task. The other worker did, the other journeyman. And he was like, you're like letting her do that? Like, because, threading in the shower head if it's not tight enough and then leaks, and then not getting the cartridge in and setting it right. And like, there was a few, obviously I had it in backwards and the water's full tilt because the shower was on instead of off. And it's like, oh my God. And then like going into like a year later, and I'd be doing the copper risers. So like, and then when water time to test and you're filling the system up and the whole building's drywalled, it like, I literally, I'm feeling now what an anxiety panic attack is.
It is,
and
right?
I'm like, oh, that's what that is. That's what that is. Like for days, because it was like, okay, this water, something leaks and you're cutting drywall and fixing it. And we would bet, of course, every leak is a case of beer.
Yeah.
So I'm literally going through my bank account. How much beer can I afford for this?
It's interesting how those things become core memories, right? Like you'll remember that anxiety of your first fail or your first stressful job forever.
Yeah.
And that's.
Sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I just wanted to say, I think it's important, like, for apprentices to be mindful of when you're learning, like the overload of stress, like it's because you're learning, and
Yeah.
as time goes on, it eases,
Yep.
right? Or it either eases or you just learn how to manage it, because as you progress, it just kind of, the stress can compound as you do bigger projects and bigger tasks, or, you know, bigger systems or whatever. So you just, as an apprentice, you're also not only learning the task, but you're learning how to manage the stress associated with it. Is a
Yep.
huge thing to be mindful of when you're learning as an apprentice, because I wasn't mindful of that all the time. And then it would come into, you know, your subconscious level of, then it may be feeling of like doubt, like you're doubting yourself and like, can I do this? Or is this, I'm a fuck up? Or instead of putting it in that way, you have to like, this is an external thing, not it spiraling into where you then think you're a shitty tradesperson, or I can't do this. And because I feel like everyone has those thoughts. But
Everybody does.
Like when I have a lot of conversations with other women in the trades, I feel like that gets brought up a lot. But I try to, like when I talk to other women in the trades or people wanting to get in, it's not just a women in the trade thing, it's a everybody thing.
Yep.
Everybody has those same doubts. And being aware of that, so that when you're getting into a male dominated trade or work or whatever, it's not just you, the guys feel it too, right?
Yeah, it's not a toxic, like I've heard lots of people say it's a toxic work environment for whatever reason. And you're like, no, it's the work environment. You're just inexperienced at dealing with the stress levels that are there. They never, like I'll fill it, like we do it all the time. Okay, here we go. Let's fill it up. And everybody's nervous. And I've done it 4,000 times. And
I know. Like I messaged you over Christmas.
Yeah.
Because those thoughts creeping in my head. Like we're starting the boiler at Bob's house, and I'm literally like, I'm just anxiety ridden because one, I don't want to mess it up. It's two, like super important to me because it's my dad's house.
Yeah.
And then three, I haven't done it in a while, so I feel like I've forgotten everything. And then you sent me a little video, and I'm like, yeah, what the hell am I doing? Like, just turn it on.
And it worked out just fine, right?
It worked out fine. Yeah, we had a water line. Our water line froze. So as soon as I started to do it, it was like no more water coming. I'm like, what? And then
your main water line froze.
The main water line froze, so that halted things for the day, because then we had to get more heat tracing and a heater put in. Like the outside, we have a junction point where the water line comes up, where they fed the water line to the lake, because we get it from the lake.
Yeah.
And then it goes up to the house, and they're all heat traced underground, but there's a section that's not. So we found that out when it gets to minus 30 here, it will freeze. So
that's you find out a lot of things when it hits minus 30 or 40. You're like, wow, that's a problem. We better fix that for next time.
But yeah, after that we fixed that, and it went great. I had just some minor soldering leaks, and I just tapped those up, and they're good to go. And then just been cozy warm ever since with high propane bills.
That wow. we could talk about that too, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. It's gone up so much, and
it's crazy what's going on, and how it's interesting. You listen. They don't. You know, everybody talks about it's all because of this conflict in Europe. It's shocking to me. I'm like, dude, it's been going up for 2 years, and the last 6 weeks, you're like, oh yeah, no, it's those dudes over there's fault, right?
Let's distract you over there.
Are you serious? You expect me to believe that? Who believes that?
I don't know. I think a lot of people do believe that.
I don't know.
It's unfortunate. Everyone has smaller attention spans these days.
Yeah.
And I think that plays into it, where people have a smaller attention span. They can't remember.
It's obviously they can't, because, like you say, have you been paying attention the last like 5 years? This has been predicted forever.
Yeah.
And anyway.
And last years have just exponentially made it worse.
Yep. Yeah, it's going to be a rough. It's going to be a rough couple of years for the what do we want to call those? You know, those people that are on the fringes, really.
Yeah. If I'm just gonna move here and see if it'll stay.
Oh. Careful.
I know.
No, you're fine. You're fine. You're doing good.
I'm always sore. I think. Is that better? No. It's too cold. There
you go.
There we go. I forget what I was going to say now. I was distracted by watching the Wi-Fi bars and big.
Okay. So you talked about. I mean, I assume. I don't know this. I'm assuming that you talk to lots of women in the trade. Mm-hmm. You have your little. And I'm going to be totally misogynistic when I say this, but you have your little knitting circle, yes? And we have we have our little man caves or whatever you want to call them. You know, we all, have our little groups.
Everyone has their private DMs.
Yeah. And so, what do you think are the? I mean, I would call you a leader of tradeswomen, and any significant grouping. You always seem to be mentioned. So, what are some of the factors that impact your ability to be a leader in that sphere? Do you think?
What would impact me to be a leader?
Yeah. What do you think are some of the challenges that to being in that sort of group? And us, I don't know how else to say it, us men watch you ladies from the outside and have our, admirations and our critiques at the same time. How do you guys sort of handle that stuff? Or are there things that are there
being a woman in the trade kind of thing?
Yeah.
I think a lot of it that I've dealt with, I think, is just being self-confident. I think a lot of women struggle with the confidence levels.
Okay.
And just knowing your knowledge, like, you've got this, we can handle this. I think the challenges, I find it different because I've been very supported. Like, the guy I worked for, it was like, I had such a great apprenticeship with him. There were struggles, and I guess the intimidation of walking on a job site and being the only woman, and there with like 30 to 50 guys.
Yep.
Just, I guess, being the only one, but it was overall, like, the challenges were just like, I just look at them as challenges at work, like regular challenges, not a man and woman thing. This is just work. Like, you just have to show up and be willing to work hard no matter what. I think when I was in my apprenticeship, I probably focused a little bit too much on proving my worth, like, to be there. Like, I have to prove myself. Prove to the guys I can be one of the guys. When really it's like, you don't need to do that. You just need to show up and work. And that's, if you're going to work hard, wanting to learn, you'll be just fine. Like, I get, like, the whole size thing and women aren't strong enough and whatever. That's just bogus, because there's guys out there that are smaller than me in the trades. You just figure out physically how you can mechanically do something, and you do it.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of problems, and you have to find solutions to it. So people, like, if women are being mistreated on site or with workers, it's usually their problem, not yours.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So your experience was super positive all the way through. Felt supported all the way through.
The majority of it, yeah. Like, because when I would have down days, there wasn't there was days. It was mostly just me doubting myself, right?
Yeah.
Not anything to do with the workplace. All the guys, the crew that I worked with, like from not just my immediate plumbing crew, it was the other guys on site. They were all like, yeah, like always felt welcome with them. I was always, we used to have you can't do it now, but you'd have the case of beer on Friday, beer o'clock in the shop on site, and have a couple beers and everyone talk about stuff other than work. I never felt like I couldn't go there and have beers with the guys. It was always welcoming and great. But
that's amazing.
When you have tough days, I always had my mom and dad to turn to talk to, and their direct experience of being in construction. My dad had a home building business for his career, and they owned a deck and railing company themselves, being, business owners. So to talk to them, they would talk me through their struggle to relate to what I was going through. It's like, it'll be fine. You just got to put one foot in front of the other and keep going, because the majority of it is just managing yourself, your emotions, and how you're approaching this problem. And the majority of the time, it's because you're hungry and you haven't taken a break yet. Like, that moment you're working.
Yeah, it's not wrong.
But it just keeps falling apart because you just need to sit down and eat a fucking sandwich.
It's so true. I literally, I've said that to anyone that's worked for me, and particularly my boys in the last couple of years when they're, I can't figure this out. I'm like, why don't you jump in the van, grab yourself a sandwich, text your girlfriend or whatever you need to do, and just sort of remove yourself from that environment for 20 minutes. Yep. And then come back and look at it. I promise you'll have a new idea, which may or may not work, but it'll be a new idea, right?
Exactly. Just a fresh take on it. Like, we've done it like numerous times in the last, I've been building this house with my dad now for 18 months.
Yeah.
And we get to something that's going wrong. It's usually because it's around lunchtime. And it's, okay, let's stop and have a break, and then we go back to it, and then it's like within the 10 minutes we figure it out and move on to the next thing.
Yeah. So Lesley's big advice is make sure you're hydrated and well fed.
I don't leave home without snacks.
I see that. That's your I can't remember the hashtag now, but you always have some massive meal. Yeah, there we go. Food viper. Yeah.
You gotta have good food. Life is too short. You eat all the food, take in all the flavors. I've never been one to okay, I've done diets and stuff, but they don't work. You have to change your mindset around food, to really enjoy it. I can't do diets. I just like food too much.
I couldn't agree with you more.
My mom used to make fun of me because I would come home from school. The first thing I would do is I go straight to the fridge.
Yeah.
Open the fridge. Check what's in there. Not even take anything. Just make sure all the food is there for later.
I'm just making sure that I don't have to have a panic attack. I can sit down and relax for 20 minutes, and then I can go eat, right?
Yeah. And I do that. I don't know if it's just a me thing or if other people do that. When you get home, you take your work boots off, you do whatever, you go check the fridge, and then go about your evening. I
won't lie to you. I don't know if I've ever, I don't consciously do that, but I suspect that's exactly the case. Is I take my boots off and walk to the fridge. Yeah. Okay.
I've always done it, and I've caught myself being like, "Oh my god, I'm doing it again." But I don't do it as much around here because I have, I've been living with my mom and dad, and my mom is quite good at keeping the fridge stocked.
But you don't have to worry about it.
No, it's like, I joke because this is really, it's been a great experience being able to do this. Like, I really couldn't have imagined spending this like when the hit the world.
Yeah.
Doing anything else than what I've been doing. It was the best decision that I made to come and do, because like right before, the pandemic happened, but then the flood happened in Fort Mac. So I was evacuated out of my condo again, right? And so I was staying at my friend's house, and then my other friend let me use her basement suite. And then I came down here to help with my dad for a few weeks in the summer, because I had no work. Like, all my work dried up, because I primarily do new construction and renovations. And so people were wanting to be in their home because of it.
Yep.
So a lot of things were like, yeah, we're going to put on hold and this and that. So I basically had the summer free. And I was doing the cleaning. I used to do the cleaning in my building, the common area. So that was a secure streamline of money that was coming in. But that wasn't there because the building was flooded.
Yeah.
So I came down
It's
here
crazy.
and lived in a tent for 8 weeks.
Yeah.
My mom
And then your dad finally invited you in? Oh, no, you didn't have a house yet.
No, we had a trailer. They were living in a campground.
Yeah.
So then when I was here doing this, and then my dad and I were talking, and he said, like we were discussing, like, yeah, it would work for both of us for me to just come back. I had to go back to Fort Mac to settle some things and grab winter working stuff. And then I came back down here at the September of 2020 and been here ever since, pretty much building this house. And it was just going to be to help him frame, do the plumbing, all the crucial steps. And then from there, he could finish the rest. But it's snowballed into us doing absolutely everything, just the two of us. For the simple fact that, one, it's hard to find skilled people, and two, everything is just so expensive that we have the ability to do it and save money. We might as well
fraction of the cost.
Right? So it just kind of snowballed into us doing it, and here I am we're still doing it. But it's really been great to spend this time with them, because, living in Fort Mac for 15 years, traveling to see them every couple months or once or twice a year. And I'm not going to lie, 2020, that beginning of that year was supposed to be the best year. And into just one of the worst. There was a few weeks there, it was really bad. I was like, oh my God, this is, I don't know. This is hard. Adulting is hard when you're going through, everyone gone through the pandemic, and then going through being flooded and just living out of a suitcase kind of thing. And my van was a write-off. I lost some of my tools and stuff like that, and just feeling what am I going to do? This really gave me an opportunity to keep busy to a point where it's what's a pandemic? Because I would have been, I think, in a worse mental headspace if I was just up in Fort Mac in a basement,
trying to sling it out
and being able to see one or two people because of all these stupid restrictions and everything. This is the best place that I landed for the past 2 years. And now it's I want to make a life here. Right? It was a temporary decision, and it's turned into me visualizing growing my business in this area. I see a huge potential, and I can be close with my parents. Literally not living just a bedroom away, but I'll be up above the garage bedroom. There'll be a floor between us every once in a while. I can close the door and have my own time, but still be like, hey mom, you want to do dinner tonight?
Yeah. So is it close? Like, what's the projected end date?
We're hoping to be in by summer.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So yeah, it's coming along. We're doing like finishing stuff now. We just finished the ceiling last week.
Yeah.
That was huge because that was a lot of work. And then we'll roll into doing more cabinets and tile and flooring. And then before you know it, it'll be like,
Yeah.
I'm getting the itch. Like, let's move in.
I bet.
Because
Yeah.
it's been a long process. And, you have to really, it's been a long winter too, but I have to like check my brain and be like, okay, stay motivated. Let's keep going, because it can be tiring, like, to keep going sometimes,
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what it is, right? I say to the kids that it's not motivation, it's discipline, right? Because you can't always be motivated.
That's perfect.
Motivation comes and goes, wanes, and whatever, but it's discipline that keeps you. All right, I'm getting up. I'm going to go do whatever is on the list today and start knocking them off.
Like, discipline is the key to that. I really love that saying. Like, I'm going to write that down, because that's what I see every day living with my dad.
Yeah.
Like, the discipline he has is unreal. Like,
Yeah.
get up and go no matter what. Like, determination. Doesn't matter, the weather's shitty. We got to shovel a foot of snow to get out, to get to work, to shovel snow to get to work.
Right.
To do like 2.5 hours of work to then be able to drive home through a snowstorm. But you do it.
You do it. Yeah. Yep.
You have to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Who else is going to do it, right?
Yeah.
So are you actually doing some work for some contractors there now? I see that you're crawling around in basements and stuff these days.
So yeah, I picked up a bit of work on my own.
Yeah.
So that's a nice change too. Like, I've decided, like, I need to pick up more of my own work, because it makes me feel better. Like, being on one job site for so long, it's nice to break it up and do my own and branch out and network a little bit, because I'm not going to be building this house forever. So I need to branch out and get my name out there so I can pick up more work and get to it, like, so I picked up an addition down the road. It's like a new build. So I'm doing that. And there's another local guy in town, Rob, and he does primarily HVAC. And we've teamed up, and he's done the HVAC and I've done the plumbing, and it's worked out really great.
Is that in Salmon Arm then? Is that the town that's closest to you?
Yeah, Salmon Arm. We did a lot of work in Salmon Arm. So yeah, I would like to branch out and work like between Salmon Arm and Kamloops, because we're kind of in the middle, and either way you have to drive out of here to get down the highway. So I'd like to keep in that area, and then obviously just on the North Shuswap, if there's enough work to keep me busy, that would be great. But you have to go into Salmon Arm or Kamloops to get materials anyways, so. Because
there's nothing.
There's a whole hardware, which is great.
That's right.
They have a good stock.
They have to.
They have to.
I had a couple of buddies that their parents built houses out there when they had to use the boat. Like you load it up because they were on the whatever it is, the island there. I don't remember the name of it, but you literally go from the boat launch and you load up all your material, drive it over, or float it over,
boat access.
Unload. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I don't think I could live that remotely.
It's insane. It's fun for like a week of water skiing. Like, that was a long time ago, but like you say, we would go do that and spend a week there and have a fantastic time. But you wanted to go anywhere, you're in the boat.
You're in the boat, yeah. Like, I like this kind of remote is good. You can still get in your car and drive somewhere.
Yeah.
if you need be, and we have all the essentials we need.
Yeah.
But it's not the same as like living in Calgary or
No.
Murray. It's an adjustment to.
Yeah. Not everything's there, right?
Not everything's there. You have to live your life differently. You have to plan ahead. And that's really great too, because it really puts you in an organized state of mind for when I've had to switch up how I've operated doing a few jobs out here, because you can't just run to the wholesaler and grab what you need. You kind of have to know ahead of time and plan your trip to get what you need to come back to do the job. You're not just going to drive an hour both ways.
One way.
Right?
Oh crap! I'm short a bag of PEX rings. I better run into town.
Oh my
4
God.
hours. 4 hours later.
Yeah, like you have to have stuff. You have to be prepared. So, like right now, my van is just dishevels because I haven't been using it really like all the time. So it's like I was doing this job the last few days, this little renovation. They wanted a shower put in and some faucets. And I was so frustrated with myself because my van is not organized how I would usually approach doing these jobs, because I don't put time into organizing it because I've been just building this house with my dad. I don't need to. And hey, I need to spend a good solid day and organize that van so that when I do pick up a little job, I'm ready to go, because I can't stand that frustration level of not being organized and taking 5 minutes to find a part. I know that's in there, but it's
30.
30, yeah.
I know it's here somewhere. It's under this box. Oh, damn it.
Yeah, and then I'm like not opening the door all the way. I don't want the homeowner to see what kind of state it's in. And I'm like, oh, don't look in here. Because I'm like, the presentation of it being organized and everything, and that is like a bomb went off.
No, we just say with that, like, I'll be organized, and then 4 days later it'll be absolute. Like I can't even open my back door.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, it's just been so busy. I pull it out and then huck it back in.
Yeah.
And start off on the next job. Right?
Yeah.
Like, what do you do?
You get to the end of the week and you're like, oh God. I need to get this sorted out.
I'll do it Monday, right?
I'll do it Monday. No.
We've all said that. I'll do it first thing Monday morning. I got too much to do today. I don't have time to clean it out.
I don't have time to clean it, yeah.
I'm just going to sort through it.
I would love to have my van as clean as a lot of these guys do that you see on Instagram all the time. It just doesn't happen.
I think, the truth in advertising is they take it when it's spotless. Yeah. And I'm like, all right, when did you take that picture? That's the problem with Instagram, is I could take a picture from 2 years ago and like, look how clean my van is.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's the last time it was, probably.
Right? That's when I first did it. And then after that, it's just sort of gone into the toilet.
Yeah.
So what would be some advice you'd give your younger self, if you could?
Oof. Probably just the whole taking your time to, like, the whole confidence thing. Like,
that's a big thing in this.
I come across as like pretty confident, outgoing, positive person.
Yeah.
But it's taken a lot of work to get to that point. I haven't always been like this confident, like be like super nervous going to a job, or, doubting, am I going to be able to do this? Like before I even walk in the door, and just like not letting that take over so that it affects you for the future. Like really take a minute and, do that mindful check of, okay, it's just, you can handle this, just go in, figure it out, and you'll sort it out. I still go into jobs. I get a call to go do a shower or renovation, and you're like that feeling of being overwhelmed and like, oh my God, like, why did I say yes to this? And I'm not going to be able to do this, and all of that is like, don't let those thoughts get in your head to a point where it's affecting you, because it pile up and start affecting you to a point where it can be unhealthy.
Yep.
No,
I won't lie to you. I don't have that feeling anymore because I've been doing it for so long.
Yeah.
But it's certainly, I see it in my kids and people that have worked for me, that they're just like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm like, dude, you just gotta, you have the knowledge, and you know what I mean? Take your breath.
Take a breath.
Nobody likes to see a nervous plumber.
No.
So you got to walk in there like, I'm here. I'm going to fix this.
You're going to sort it out. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes it's not easy to do it with an audience. So if you need to ask the homeowner to listen, I'm going to need like 10 minutes by myself in here just to talk to myself out loud without you chirping your little advice.
Yeah.
This is what I think you should do.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing is noting that, because I've been in situations where the homeowner is following you around the whole time. Yeah. And you end up like, I've done it where I've made more mistakes because I'm so mindful of this person standing there. Whereas it's like, if this person wasn't here, I wouldn't be making as many mistakes. So then by saying, you know what, I need my space. Yeah. Let me do my thing. I will keep you like informed of
abreast of everything that's going on here. Yeah.
But you don't need to be right here. Right? Go have a coffee, relax.
I have said to people, listen, you hired me for a reason, so let me do my thing. If I have any questions, I'll let you know. Yeah. And if there's any concerns, you'll be the first to know. Yeah. But I'm here because you asked me to be here.
Yeah. And if the homeowner keeps on hanging around, you put that homeowner to work. That's what I think.
What do you make them do, Lesley?
Grab my tool.
Give them a hammer.
Okay, you're gonna hold this. I need to go turn.
I've never done that.
You need to stand here while I go turn the water on. Make sure everything's good. Like,
I guess, yeah. I have done that. Stand here as I walk down the stairs. That dude is insane. Why is he in my ear?
Yeah. Just whatever. Like, keep them busy. And then they feel, okay.
Yeah. I'm part of the team.
Part of the team, yeah. Okay, you got the job. I'll see you on Monday when I'm going to go do this other renovation. You better be there.
Yeah. The more questions you ask me, the higher the bill's going to be.
Yeah. I do like the homeowners that are like, here's the key.
Yeah.
And you can just go in.
We have lots of those.
And get it done. Yeah. I think that's primarily why, like, I've done a lot more new construction or like renos, is a lot of the times the homeowners aren't there.
Yeah.
It's great to just walk in to a job and put the tunes on and just get to work. Like,
it's true.
Some of those certain jobs are when the homeowner is over you, it feels like, oh, this day is dragging because, you know, it's.
Yeah. Mr. Johnson is watching my every move.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is why I love commercial, because usually they're just like, it's down there. Let me know when you're done.
Yeah. But,
type of thing.
Yeah. And then other advice I would give, I guess it would be to other people starting in the trade, any trade, is to, get as much experience. Like, if you're finding a place where you're just limited to one learning avenue, is maybe it might feel scary or daunting to go and look for other work. And that all depends on your responsibilities, mortgages, and all of that. But in the long run, it's better to have more knowledge than not. And then also, like, one thing that I always held true to is I went to school every year. Like, I made a promise to myself, I'm going every January until I get my ticket. And I'm not veering from that no matter what is going on, because your employer, no matter what, will tell you, you can't go yet. We need you.
I've done it. I've done it.
Yeah.
I'll give you a raise. I'll pay for it in the summer or whatever. I've done all that stuff to try and keep.
Yep.
Because it's crazy.
Every single time I've told my employer, like that happened a few times. You couldn't pay me enough to misschedule this, because what happens, I've seen it happen way too many times. Guys push that date, and then something else comes up in life, and it never gets completed. They are a walking second or third year apprentice for 10 years.
Yep.
Right, and then they get caught in a cycle of, well, it's too late now, or it's been 8 years, and then it's 10 more years of your life gone by, and you feel like, I'm too old to go back to school now, or whatever. Just stay on top of it. It's your life, it's your future. Like, you have to take control of that. That person is not going to be there in 10 years to potentially to say, we need you now, because they're looking at another second year apprentice who's 10 years younger than you, that they could probably pay less to do the same.
They will pay less. Yeah.
Right? Like, that's
and frankly, I'm not sure, abuse a little bit, but just take advantage of their, you can do this and you can do this, I can pay you way less. You, being who you are now, know what your worth is. Yeah. And so you come in there and say, this is what it's going to cost you.
Yeah.
Right.
When I actually first started plumbing, I think they thought I was going to work for less, like, because I was going to be a first-year apprentice. And I told them, you're going to pay me what I'm making now. Like, what I worked up to laboring for my dad's company, I wasn't going to go work for them for $1 less. So you're going to pay me what I'm making now. And that was more than what the first-year apprentice rate was. But I feel like I was worth that. That's what I'm getting paid now. You've seen me work on site. You know that I'm worth that, or you wouldn't have offered the job.
There you go.
I didn't think that they realized at that time, but it worked out from there and went on. Of course, everyone has their struggles of that feeling of when you're apprenticing, like, I'm not getting paid enough, like the talk at school where guys are comparing their wages and everything. And the majority of the time I was getting paid more than every guy in my class.
No. And why is that, though? Why do you think that is? Is that because of you?
In Fort McMurray, you made a little bit more.
Oh, I guess.
Also because
I guess,
I worked hard. So my boss saw the value of my work ethic, and he paid more.
But you were you willing to take less?
What do you mean?
If he had offered you less, if he had offered you an Edmonton wage as opposed to a Fort Mac, would you have taken it?
No, I would have went and worked for somebody else that was offering me.
Right, exactly.
So,
so I guess that's what I'm trying to say, is you're in control of that, though, right?
Yeah.
Like, the situation arises, you're able to, chuck and jive to make sure that it's advantageous for you, right?
Yeah, and I've had to do that. Like, I was doing my plumbing apprenticeship, and the guy I was working for, we didn't have enough work to keep everyone busy for like 6 months, almost a year. So the cabinet company offered me a job. So I actually went cabinet making, working in a cabinet shop for a year, building cabinets and countertops and all of that. And then they offered me a carpentry apprenticeship. And the guy I was working for, Wayne, the plumbing, they got another contract. So I went back to plumbing because I was already second-year apprentice, and it was like I couldn't see myself working in a cabinet shop every day doing the same thing.
Yeah.
But I've had to like pivot my career and work where I needed to at that time in my life. So, and I went back to plumbing. Actually,
1 second, Lesley. It's going to cut me off because we've been talking for an hour, if you can believe it.
Oh, we have?
So, yeah. Apparently. So it's going to cut off in like 2.
Hey.
Sorry about that.
Here, I was worried last night that I'm going to talk for an hour. Like, I'll be said everything in 10 minutes, and I'll be like, I don't know what to say now.
Well, congratulations. As your mantra is, your confidence has pulled you through, and you're now into an hour plus.
Oh,
nice job. That's right. Part 2.
My coffee. But yeah, what I was saying was, I actually got my journeyman ticket, and it was a little slow in Fort Mac, and I went and worked at EMCO for a year at the wholesaler.
Oh, there you go.
So I took a huge pay cut.
You did, right? As a counter salesman, like did you work?
Shipping.
Or you sales? Oh, in the back.
In the back, and I did deliveries. I loved it.
Yeah. Did you?
They put me up on the counter, which I liked. I liked picking orders and all of that.
Did you dream? Serious question first. Did you literally dream numbers and SKUs?
Yes. Oh yeah, I would wake up in the middle of the night and be counting pipe and counting fitting. In my dreams, my ex would be like, "Oh my God, you are just numbers. You're talking in numbers all night long. You don't shut up."
When I asked him, I'm like, I need a 1-inch ball valve non-stop press. They're like, and whatever the code is, it's like 14 letters and numbers long. They're like, I'm like, how do you know that?
Yeah.
I read them at night. Oh my gosh.
The first few years after I left that job, I would walk back into EMCO and just tell the new counter person and be like, "It's this, it's that. Here, let me just do this job for you." But yeah, that was a huge kick. Also, like I had to really, it felt that like when your ego, you get your journeyman, and then you're gonna go work at a wholesaler. Yeah. But at the time, I had put all my eggs in one basket with the one employer. So that's another bit of advice I would tell myself going back. Because I did my whole apprenticeship with one guy, and I didn't branch out with the other plumbers in town.
Yeah.
And I really felt like I was not going to get enough work as a plumber. I didn't have the confidence to just go out and look for work with other plumbers in town.
Yeah.
It was a really great opportunity because here I am now, journeyman plumber, working at EMCO, getting to know every single plumber in town.
Right.
Which ones
you want to work with and which ones you don't.
I knew exactly who was paying their bills and who wasn't paying their bills.
Yeah, you would, right?
So those numbers, like...
Who was nice to the counter staff, who were dicks.
Yeah, exactly. Who helped you unload those tubs when you roll up on their site and who didn't.
Yeah.
Like all of that. It was really great. And then the manager at the time, he wanted to groom me to go into management side of things. But so then he put me on the sales desk. But I knew like it wasn't for me. Like every chance I could get, I was up in the back, organizing fitting, doing a delivery, doing whatever, just so I wasn't sitting at that desk.
Yep.
And I knew that I wouldn't be happy long-term going down that road in a management, sitting in an office, just doing numbers and selling things like that way. I like to be hands-on, active in my job. So the guy I was working for had another contract, and after a year I went back and worked for him, and then I had made a lot of contacts. So whenever we got slow, I just reached out to them and, hey, you got any work? I've got a slow couple weeks, and I start subcontracting, and really branched out after the fire and worked for a bunch of different plumbers in town contracting till I got to a point where I felt confident with myself and my abilities and to take on my own jobs.
So did you set up a company to go do subcontracting?
Yep.
Did you do that while you were at EMCO? Like, was that sort of after you slow with work?
Yeah, after I left EMCO and started back working for the guy, instead of going back as his employee, I went back.
You stopped?
as a limited company and subcontract, and never look back on that. Like, it's not huge learning curve too, like doing it all, like, but I had a leg up in the sense that, you know, my mom and dad owned businesses growing up, so able to watch them, learn from them. My mom, huge help in the book end of things. But it's a lot to take on yourself, like doing it all by yourself, doing the bookkeeping and keep on top of your accounting, and your regular life too, like trying to have that, you know, that saying, that work-life balance. There's no fucking balance.
No, I hate that saying. I hate it.
Me
Because
too.
if you want to be successful at something, then there's no, like, then it becomes consuming.
Yep.
Right? Like, this is what I want to do. So what do I have to sacrifice? Well, this and this and this. So I guess those aren't being balanced effectively in my life.
Yeah.
Right?
I think switching your mind frame from, okay, you're an employee where you work Monday to Friday and you have your weekends off, and these are supposed to be your days off, right? There is no days off when you're a business owner, and you have to not think like, this is my off. This is just stuff I need to get done today so I can enjoy my afternoon now. Or whatever, you just got to do what you got to do so you can enjoy your other days. But it doesn't always turn off, because you're going to get a call when you're away to do something or do a problem or fix a solution or whatever, and you just have to handle it. So it just becomes a part of your life. It doesn't become a work-life balance. It's just this is how you have to approach it.
Yeah, or it is. It's if you think you can find a work-life balance, and they'll probably get some flack for that, but you're fooling yourself. Like, you're going to be miserable because you'll never find it. No.
And then you'll just be miserable because you'll be constantly on that cycle of, dreading doing this or dreading doing that. Like, what? You're supposed to have a day off? Like, just get it done. And then you can enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah. It's the truth.
Determination or dedication to just get up and do it. Like, this is what you need to do, and then you can spend the rest of your day coloring your legs if you want.
Clearly, Lesley, you have some artistic talent. And I don't even, like, do you draw? Like, is that one of your creative outlets?
My creative outlets, yeah. Like, I like to color and stuff. Mostly I color like a coloring book.
Yeah.
But when quarantine became a thing, beginning of time, one of my friends, she sent me this funny little picture of a girl's legs, and on it was this shitty drawing of like two faces, and it was like, my drinking buddies, because you shouldn't be drinking alone.
Oh, okay.
So she sent me this picture because she knew I was at home by myself drinking. Yeah. And then I thought, oh, this will be funny. And I just like got my Sharpies out and I drew myself and the girl on my legs, and then sent her a picture back saying, I'm not drinking alone, I got my buddy. And it kind of just spiraled into, like, I've always liked to draw. Like, I took art in high school, but I never pursued it like that. Yeah. It's always been something fun for me to just sit down and do, and then it's just became kind of a thing in the last, since quarantine, like, just to have a night where I put the tunes on, I have a couple drinks, I shut everything else off, and I just, like, draw my legs whatever the hell I want. So,
nice. They did a good job. I was impressed.
Yeah, and I had your like sticker as a reference. Like, I need a reference point. I can't just draw from nothing. I need some kind of inspiration where I can kind of copy it, and then I kind of make it my own. But I won't be giving up the wrenches to become a tattoo artist or anything anytime soon. That was gonna be a question. I thought that when I saw that, I'm like, oh, I should ask her if there's some. Yeah, and I have no tattoos. There's nothing I can commit to one. So,
And so what's the contest? What's the contest that you put out there?
oh yeah, I forget.
Oh yeah.
So whoever commented, liked it, and followed, I just thought, okay, I will just do a drawing of their logo or whatever they want on their on my leg, and whoever they tag, like their favorite plumber, and I'll do their logo. So the best comment I read was Lower 48.
I read his too and laughed my head off.
I laughed my ass off, and because it was like, my life is getting appreciated. So now I'm thinking, I'm probably just going to draw him anyways, and they can figure out their own life.
Nothing like creating some drama for somebody 4,000 miles away.
And then he tagged the Plum Bob Rob.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's great, and I love his logo so much because it's the Pabst beer logo. And I'm like, okay, that would be fun one to draw. And Lower Chris was just like, the comment was just hilarious. Like,
I did. I read his and I read it twice. I was like, oh man, that's hilarious.
And I've already drawn Alan. So
you have drawn Alan, yeah.
He was the other one. So I was like,
he's easy. He's just a bunch of hair, right?
He's just a bunch of
hair and some eyeball and some glasses, and you're done.
Yeah. That was a fun one too. I did that as a thank you for him because he set up a GoFundMe after the flood.
Yeah.
For me, and that was a huge appreciation, like, to everyone that donated. Like, that money helped me put money down to buy my new van and stuff, and I just really appreciate, like, that's another thing on here, the avenue of being able to reach out to people for support, for help, or like the community that has grown, like, or that I've grown into becoming involved with on the Instagram has really been huge. And just like people donating to me was just like, wow.
It's a fantastic community.
Yeah, I was blown away. Like, I was crying, like sobbing, like with happiness. And then I was like, okay.
Don't cry on here. Don't cry on here, Lesley. Don't do it.
Right. There's no criers in the Baker barn.
That's not true. Everything happens up here.
Yeah.
There's been some tears up here. Don't even feel bad.
When you dropped that 5-pound weight on your pinky toe the other day or something, like,
No, my kids are up here all the time crying about their lives.
About their lives.
We have some good discussions in the barn.
Yeah. Oh, I bet.
Wait.
It's a great place for you guys to like have. You know, like, it's been a great process watching you build up into what it is, like, and a great example of, you know, okay, you can't go do this anymore because the government is telling you can't, and you're like, screw it, I'm going to do it anyways. And you realize, like, that's an outlet you need probably to be your version of your successful mental health and all of that is an outlet for that. A lot of those outlets got taken away from people, and they either went left or right with that, and they did what you did, or they just kind of sit there and wallow in shit. Yep.
Unfortunately, I know some people that went the other way, and some are no longer with us, unfortunately, and some, may never recover.
Yeah.
And it's been an awful experience for everybody, like you say. I don't know how to. There's no way to sugarcoat it, and the governments have decided that their say is the only one that matters. And unfortunately, the crazy thing is it's all, like, in the last 6 weeks, it's all changing.
Oh, yeah.
It's all changing.
And
it's insane.
You can't deny the fact of the movement that moved across the country did have a part. They
try and minimize that, and on some level you have to be a little bit. There's always some crazies that jump on board that stuff, and you know what I mean, that sort of ruin the actual what it means.
Yeah.
But here in Alberta, our dumbass premier's like, we're bringing everything down. We're the first country or the first province to do it. I'm like, yeah, it's because you guys can't get your bubble gum across the freaking border because it's shut off.
Yeah.
Don't tell us that I'm the one that's decreeing that it's now allowed.
Yeah.
Like they got backed into a corner. So
Of course you're changing things now.
Yeah.
Because of the people.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I don't want to go too far down that road, but did you notice that Pfizer, the company, has delisted themselves from the stock exchange?
No, I didn't.
Yeah. How is that not mainstream news?
Yeah.
And what that means is it's incredibly difficult to sue them now.
Right.
And so it's all going to come out. Anyway.
Yeah,
the fact that isn't everywhere blows my mind.
It's a rabbit hole.
I know.
We could go on for 4 more hours down that. We argue or debate or discuss about these issues in ad nauseam.
Yeah.
In our household, and how disappointing it all comes down to. It's just disgusting that nothing was done. Nothing that they did helped. I don't think anybody.
I think it made it worse. In fact, I know it made it worse because of what we just talked about. Economically, mentally, financially, they destroyed a lot of people's lives with their policies.
The amount of conversations I've had in the last couple of years of, basically talking people off a ledge, or people talking me off a ledge, or just a mental, you're just exhausted. Everyone's exhausted from this. We need to move on and get on with our lives and learn how to adjust now with this, I guess, new kind of normal that is going to be, but not also to forget about the major
Can't forget. No.
that has happened in the last 2 years. And you need to remember that when you're going to go out and vote.
Yep.
People need to write this shit down so they don't forget. Someone needs to make a reel with everything that the government has touched and turned to shit in the last 2 years, so people will see it and be like, oh yeah, okay, here's your reminder.
You need longer than 60 seconds though. You'd have to do. We should bring Robbie on here, and we'll just have like a huge, spitball of all the crap that's going on.
Write it all down and then put it into a fun reel for people to view, because you can't. I'm in a private group and we talk all things that probably would get you banned if you posted it all. Yeah. And it's mostly like research papers and stuff that's boring for regular people to read. People won't sit down and read that shit. Yeah. So you have,
like you said, our attention spans are this big, right? So if you get an 8-page document,
put it in a reel, and on the front of the reel it has to be a cute puppy dancing, but then you get into it and it's like fact.
Suck them in. All right. Well, I'll add one for your private group. Look at Pfizer's filing Section 25 and what that means.
25. Okay.
Yep. It's a thing, and it's going to be. And how that's not everywhere, I don't know. Anyway, it's insane.
Yeah.
All right, a couple questions for you, Lesley.
Okay.
And I think I know the answers to some of them already. Okay. Would you rather have a rewind button or a pause button in your life?
Oh. Pause, I think.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Rewind, I'm not the kind of person, if I could look back on my life, I've been through some shit, but I wouldn't change it because it's made me who I am. So
I would agree. Yep.
I think a pause, because as long as this process has been building this house with my mom and dad and living and working in each other's spaces, I would like to pause it, because it's not it's not going to be forever, and it's one of
Not
those
forever.
life experiences where I learn
I
something.
can attest that it won't be forever.
Yeah, and I learn something new every day from my dad and my mom, and even myself. That is really like, you can't learn that in school.
No,
I just wish
it's
I
true.
had, a bigger mental capability
Ability.
to be able to remember it all, because it's those little things you do that you need to keep doing and repeating to really soak it all in.
Yeah.
And yeah, I would be pause for sure.
Okay. I would concur with that. Would you rather be able to talk to animals, or would you rather know all foreign languages?
Foreign languages.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to talk to Bambi out there?
Well, that would be fun, but I already do. I already do talk to the animals. So, like, if you follow my stories, I'm always posting, like, my dear friends, and
Yeah.
and so I already talk to animals. I used to have too many dachshunds, and I would talk to them all the time. But I've always thought that if I was going to have a superpower, it would be to know every language in the world.
No, I'm not. Talk to everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be
Can you
pretty cool.
imagine?
No, I can't.
It would be unreal.
No. It would be
Also,
unreal.
because I'm that person in the airport, or like when I'm on vacation, I love to people watch and listen to other people's life stories, and to be able to do that, and then you could say something like when
So bring it over and say, "This is what I would do."
Yeah, they'd be like, "What?"
So you just want to be like the drop-in and shock everybody with your. Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah.
All right. Would you rather watch the movie or read the book?
Ooh, I really like reading the book and then watching the movie after to see how close it is.
Yeah, that's what everybody does in my house.
Yeah,
they're like, oh, they missed this and they missed that, and oh, this is what this means.
Yeah, but I do there's more times than not it's the other way, and you watch the movie and then you're like, oh, that's a book, and then you read the book.
I think almost every movie is a book, isn't it?
These days,
yeah. These days it is.
Yeah, because.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they don't have anything else but the book.
Exactly.
To go off of.
I was gonna say.
All right, you made a comment on the last when I asked this question, and I can't remember who it was to, so I figured I'd ask you: would you rather go see your past ancestors, or would you rather go into the future and talk to them?
Ooh, that one's tough.
It is a tough one.
I guess it would be fun to go to the future.
Yeah?
Yeah.
See where it all ends up?
Yeah. To like see what, because my brother they're expecting a baby in July, and that's the first grandchild in our family.
Nice.
And so it'd be really cool to see how the future. I wouldn't want to go to where we're like when I'm old. I'd like to go further ahead when I'm.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Like 2 generations back before you existed.
Okay.
And then, or 2 generations in the future when you no longer exist.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
On the earth.
Yeah, and then
you know what I mean?
See how they've shaped up to be, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what
Both would be awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Lesley, what should I have asked, but I don't know enough to ask it right?
Like a question?
Yeah. Is there anything that you that the world should know that I didn't ask it?
I don't know. Other than being positive, like, I think it's really hard to stay positive some days. People find. And I think, like, for me is I like music, so I'll put music on.
So do I.
And that really changes my mind frame some days, and it's like, oh, I'm in a good mood now, you know?
Yeah.
And just like, you got to really try to brush off some of that negative energy and put positive energy into your life, because like the beginning of the pandemic was, it was supposed to be my best year ever.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I started the year off on this best trip with my best friend, and we were in Dominican Republic, and we had the best New Year's ever, and we're like, 2020 is our year, we're gonna kill it, and then it just went. And I had bought
Yep.
these tickets to Rolling Stones concert in February of 2020, and then of course it got canceled. But I started doing this a little annoying video I would send to my cousin and her fiance every day because they hate the Rolling Stones. So I started this thing because the concert was 90 days away. So I'm going to send them a video with the Rolling Stones and whatever day in the life of me for 90 days until the concert.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it turned into this thing that it was me just trying to annoy them. But then when life and the world just got me down and I really felt like a really low point, that was the one thing I had to do that took my mind off things, that I would put into a positive spin because I was trying to make them laugh. But I, in turn, was the one laughing. And it gave me something to look forward to each day to do that was not associated with what was going on in my life. And I think that really put me in a positive mind frame. And I think people need to be mindful of that, like, because shit gets hard and life gets hard. And sometimes you just need to laugh at yourself and move the fuck on.
I couldn't agree more. You wrote on your left. You're left-handed, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're left-handed. Let me ask you a personal question. Do you have a birthmark on your heel?
My heel?
Yeah.
No.
My mother was left-handed, and she had a birthmark on her heel, which was the two out of the three signs that she was a witch. She would have been burned at the stake in like the 1600s.
Really?
So I asked, when I see someone with left-handed, I'm like, you got a birthmark on your heel? And they're like, I don't know. Because if you do, you're a witch.
I don't have a birthmark. But I do on my, is it on your left? Does it matter if it's your left or right heel? Because my left.
I don't think it matters.
Okay, because my left foot, I have twin toes. They're like exactly the same.
You're a witch. You're a witch.
I've been called
it was a pretty low bar back in Salem, whatever. So left-handed and twin toes.
I would have been up on that stake. Burn me, bitches.
Anyway, I was just saying that you wrote on your left leg, I think, that the riches are in the niches.
Yeah.
And what you just said about the, your little thing that turned into something big.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I think that saying means.
Okay.
Is that you just do little tiny things, and they consistently, with, as we talked about here, with some discipline, and they turn into enriching and rewarding experiences, not just for you, but for the people that are involved in your life. Yeah,
like you've posted that before. Like that's where I got it from, was your post.
Yeah.
And it really, that saying to me, like, really hits home with me because I've always been told, like, a niche, you find your niche and you'll be successful no matter what.
Yep.
And it's not always in the business side of things. It's really in your life too. Like you find little things that you put you in a good place to move forward, and you repeat. Repeat that over and over again.
At nauseum, as often as you need to do it, right?
Do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just that was like a stupid, silly thing that I did. But it really got me through. Like those few months were really hard for me, and it was something I looked forward to. I looked forward to annoying the shit out of my cousin and fiance because they hate the Rolling Stones. But it turned into, like, I put all the clips into one big movie and sent it to them on the day the concert was supposed to be, and it was a really great recap of those 3 months of my life. And I watched it back because I had to put it together, and it was really like, whoa, like this was a crazy 3 months of my life. And
all just little tiny snippets, right?
Yeah, and I have that 1 second a day app on my phone.
Oh yeah.
Put a video or a picture of every day into it, and then at the end of the year, you can watch your year. And I feel like when people, like when I get down, I like will sometimes go in there and watch like the last 6 months or the last 5 months to remember, yeah, like, fuck yeah, I have a good
Yep.
life, like to be grateful
Yep.
and all that. And then I started putting the house pictures into a separate folder so I can create this massive file
That'll be awesome.
from beginning to end
The
of
end.
build, because
Yeah.
we've watched it, I updated it, and we watched on New Year's. And to watch it from the beginning, it regenerates, like re-energizes myself to be like, yeah, like look how far we've come, you know, like, and really like what a great experience to be involved in, you know, like I people are probably so sick of me talking about it, like how great it is, but it's really
No, I think it's amazing.
the greatest thing.
Like you say, the best thing about the construction field in my mind is watching that stuff that goes from nothing.
Yeah.
Like it's useless and unusable, whatever it is, land, house, and you turn it into just little tiny actions.
Yeah.
Turn it into something that's amazing.
Yeah. And like everything that you've touched, like I can say, like I've lifted pretty much every block that has gone into that house, every piece of wood, every nail. It's like super satisfying feeling. And I know that like that's the kind of life I want to lead with work and stuff, is do a good job, be hands-on, learn something new all the time, like and then I enjoy looking at the final product. And it's awesome being able to see other people on here too that, you know, they start off with a like impetus, you know, starts off with just a piece of plywood, and then these boilers together and epoxy the plywood, and like, and then it's like, man, that's cool. And then I'm like,
that looks great,
I
right?
do that too.
Yeah. It all starts with little tiny things. So
yeah,
I think you're doing a great job. I think whether you believe it or not, I think you're a leader amongst tradesmen and women.
oh,
and keep doing what you're doing. And since I don't think we've ever met in person yet, we'll have to do that.
That you know of.
That I know of.
I've walked by you at that good life in May 2016.
2016.
Big guy.
Holy
on the big machine. His beard, and I'm like, whoa. And I was telling my cousin's wife about it, that I was going to be on this podcast, and I was like, you know, funny story. And she's just like, man, he must have a presence about him that you remembered that. And I was like, yeah, I remembered him. And then I came on Instagram, and you must have been in something, and I clicked on it, and I'm like, that's that guy from the Okotoks gym. But it's like, yep, I'm good at faces. And I'm like, take your face out.
I am too. I know faces. I'm terrible with names. I'm literally that guy that's like, hey, dude, how are you, man? How are you, man?
Yeah,
I just see you, woman. What's that?
Did I just call everyone Bob now?
Yes, probably. There's a lot of Bobs. There's a lot of Bobs in the world.
There's a lot of Bobs, and there's a lot of Bobs that are plumbers, like Roberts, that are either Rob, Bob, or whatever. Like. Yeah. And like I've known a lot personally too, and you're like, it's like, man, like that's kind of weird. You know, all these all plumbers, like, what?
Is it some astral thing?
Just some weird like
spirit. You name your kid Bob or Rob, he's gonna be blue collar all the way.
Yeah, most likely plumber or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
exactly.
Cool album, most likely to grow up and be a plumber. It'll be a picture of a Robert.
Yeah, exactly. Your chances are good.
Yeah.
All right, Lesley, anything to add?
I don't think so, other than have a great day.
You have a great day. thank you for coming into the barn.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Great.
You can tell your mom that it'll be up on, it'll be on IG right away, YouTube shortly, and then she can listen on the podcast tomorrow.
Yeah, they're sitting out there listening to my side of it now. I'm
That's right.
waiting to pounce on the internet. My dad.
Well, tell him we're sorry that he can't get his update on his sports scores or the latest news of what's happening in the world.
Yeah,
it won't be much longer.
As soon as we sign off, okay, you're free to go.
Get down, start downloading stuff right now.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Morning routine.
Exactly. Well, I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And we'll I look forward to seeing you on Instagram. And then, like I've said to everybody here, the first 10 guests, well, if this goes well, we'll have the first 10 guests back on as a sort of reunion tour.
Cool.
And we'll see where you're at, see how things are going.
That would be awesome. Hopefully I'm doing it from the Sweat Equity Suite.
That's what it should be.
Yeah. And not
you will be.
Little tiny
not from the tent.
Yeah. I've actually, come a long way. I've come from living in a tent to having my own room.
There we go.
Yeah.
Small steps, right?
Small steps.
A nail at a time.
One nail at a time. Yeah.
That's how it goes. All right. Keep it real. Thanks. I look forward to the tunes. I love all the tunes that you put on there, and
awesome.
We'll chat very soon.
Sounds good.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.